Welcome to Wealth Expansion Weekly. This week we're choosing and creating a new timeline for our life. There are so many aspects of change, transformation, and completion this week, so we're going to be diving in just a moment. For those of you who haven't met me yet, I'm Kristen Vallis. I'm a quantum numerologist, wealth expansion, and certified brain game coach. And what that means is that I help people to discover who they truly are, what they want, why they want it, and learn how to create it easily and effortlessly in the flow of divine timing with the universe. And I love doing what I do. I love being able to help people navigate life in an easy, fun way, the way I've learned to do after years of suffering and doing things the hard way and living in poverty and, you know, stress and anxiety, fear, depression, all of those things, ill health, you know, dealing with financial issues, all of that. And so that's why I love to do what I do. So let's dive in. We're doing the weekly forecast today as usual. And so I'd like to tell you what's going on this week because it is a big week. We have lots of aspects of change, transformation, and completion. We open today with a 3 energy day in the 5 of clubs contract, and we complete the week on a 9 energy day with the Queen of Hearts contract, which takes us through the whole 369 creation cycle. So it is a very powerful week to start and end that way. We're also completing the eclipse season on Saturday with the micro full moon in Gemini that's coming up, and the Chiron retrograde as it moves direct on Sunday. So we've been exploring and expanding our self-worth and our self-value since July, which ties in nicely with the theme of stepping into more personal responsibility, which was the theme for the whole year, and releasing codependent behaviors, which is what we've been working on this whole eclipse season. So you can't make this stuff up. It all ties together, and the universe is always working in our favor, on our behalf, and this is absolutely no different. So the first thing I want to say, the spoiler alert, is that everything is going to be okay. It's going to be more than okay. And it may not feel like it at times this week, but it certainly is. And the invitation is going to be to flow with the change as much as possible and proactively choose the changes that you'd like to make. And when you're choosing that and choosing what you want to create, choosing the new life you want to step into by the end of the week, into 2022, is the way to consciously create. So you're making that choice. You're taking self-responsibility. That's the invitation this week. And when you make those changes, when you make those choices to make change, and you actively are consciously creating that change, you do experience some disruptions and some releases and things that have to go in order for those changes to take place. These are all working in your favor. This is all the universe bringing you what you want. And first, there's this letting go process. It's the law of vacuum, that we're creating this vacuum. So in order to create space to bring in the new, we must vacuum out or release what no longer serves so that there's a space for it to come in, the newness. And so that's really what we've been doing, and we're kind of completing this week is really emptying out that space so that we can bring in more, so that the universe can bring in more, so that we can have that onslaught of abundance that is sitting right here waiting for us always. And so this is just us being willing to step into the more this week. And so that's what we're being called into. And the more that we do that, the more that we step into that and just flow with the changes and the releases that have to happen in order for us to experience the fulfillment of our creation, of our new life, then we will flow a lot easier through this week. And using all of what we've learned this year, because we've been practicing this year with, emotional mastery has been a big theme this year, taking personal responsibility for how we feel and how we express those emotions in the world in a much more mature way. been a lot of inner child work this year, especially in the last 5 months with that Chiron retrograde. And so, this is a very final, powerful release phase of 2021. And we're stepping into this new life and a new way of being in the world that is much more aligned and in integrity with our personal truth. This has also been a year of integrity and coming into alignment with who we truly are, discovering who that is, discovering what we truly value, discovering the truth that we are beings of light, that we are love, that we are all connected, that we are unified, and there is no separation. And we're all coming into this at different paces. And this whole year has been about doing this more and more. Clarity's incoming this week. Emotions will likely be running high because we are going into a full moon, but also because of that 5 energy and the 3 amplifying it, kicking off this week. So also a lot of mental energy going on. So we're integrating head and heart again this week and getting a lot of practice again in doing that, which we've been practicing with all year again. So bringing that mental activity and inviting the brain down into the heart, not discounting the brain, not trying to get rid of the ego. We want to integrate them so they can work together, so that we use all of what we have to work with. This is not about creating any more separation. So the old ideas of annihilating the ego, we realize now are not what it's about. It's about integrating and bringing that, welcoming the ego, loving the ego for what it is, and directing its efforts into creating what we want instead of what we don't. And taking it away from that fight or flight survival function into conscious creation. And that's the shift we've been making all year, is this realization that, wow, we do have this power. We are empowered to do this. We have this capability to be a conscious creator, and this is how we do it. We bring the head into the heart by invitation. And so, we will be asked to surrender drama this week, the need to be right, the old belief systems that no longer serve us, any last bits of codependency that we're still hanging on to right now. Grounding and supporting the root chakra will be key again this week. And, really being able to feel that safety within, because safety and security do not come from outside of ourselves. And we've been talking about this for a while now. Safety and security come from within. We are the source of our own safety and security. We are the source of all of our resources, our money, our connections with people, all of that stuff. And I don't mean by doing, I mean by creating. And so we are the source of all of that, and we are the source of our health. We are the source of our abundance. We are the source of our safety and well-being. And so finding that from within and living from the inside out instead of from the outside in is going to be key again this week. We're really being asked to show off what have we learned. And so we will be probably experiencing ascension symptoms, because there's a lot of changes happening, a lot of transformations energetically and mentally and emotionally. And of course, that needs to integrate into the physical body. And so as that integrates into the physical body, which is much denser than thought or emotions, there can be symptoms that come up. So not to fear or worry if you experience some symptoms this week that are kind of out of nowhere, or you might be concerned about them. I'm not a medical doctor, so of course if you feel something needs to be checked out or taken care of, by all means do seek medical attention. But mostly speaking, a lot of the symptoms you're going to be experiencing this week will be temporary. And so not to worry or obsess about them too much, because there's just some changes that need to be integrated into the body at a physical level that take a little bit longer than doing it with the emotions and the mind and all of that. And so It's a bit more of a process. Pay attention to your body, support your body, nurture your body. You want to you want to listen to it, and self care, self care, self care. Big week for that again. Hydrate a lot, sleep as much as possible. I've been hydrating all morning and I'm still like really thirsty. So, and it's humid here, so you might find that you're more thirsty than usual. So lemon water, celery juice, cucumber juice, coconut water are all very hydrating. Fresh fruits, especially the ones that are on the more juicy side, very hydrating, but any sort of raw food, very hydrating. Fruits and vegetables. Um, Cooked food is dehydrating, so you can still have cooked food, but do a little bit less this week, and sleep as much as possible. Eat clean foods. You try and stay away from the junk foods. And it's going to be an emotional week, so if you have an attachment to emotional eating and you do that, then this could be a little more challenging in that area. Try and think of, if it's in your house, it's in your mouth. So don't have the junk food around if you can avoid having it around, and that will help you support your body a little better. And move, dance, yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi, some sort of fluid motion exercise can be extremely helpful this week. Give yourself time to laugh. Give yourself time to experience pleasure, fun, creativity, play, celebration, because what's occurring this week is actually so wonderful and is something to celebrate. We're moving into this new life experience that is going to allow us to have more of these things, have more pleasure, fun, creativity, play, celebration all the time as a regular daily experience. That is what we're moving into, because really embracing a life that you love and consciously creating a life that you love is all about doing what you love. And so the more you're doing what you love, the more you can experience these higher vibrational feelings that you want to experience more of, and you will get to do that. Just decide that you're going to allow these things in your life experience. Choose this to be your new way of living, and you will start consciously creating it just by making that choice and focusing on that. And so, this week we're being called to choose to lead and teach others by example of what it really looks like to take personal responsibility and embrace self-worth. What have you learned this year? What have you learned this eclipse season? What have you learned during this Chiron retrograde? If you've really been applying yourself all the way through, and I'm not talking about perfection, but if you've really been actively trying and working on yourself and all of that, it's time to acknowledge and live your new level of self-mastery, your new life, right? Of self-mastery, self-love, self-worth, and celebrate and be grateful for how much you've grown in spiritual and emotional maturity by this week's end and by this year's end, right? Look back and go, oh my God, like, look where I started, look where I am now. And even if you're not where you had hoped you would be, acknowledge and celebrate how far you've come. That inner child in you needs that validation and acknowledgement and love and appreciation, because what we've been doing this year has not been easy by any means. And so no matter where you are in your journey, and whether or not you think you've done enough, or you think you've come far enough, or you wish you were at some further point along, can you just acknowledge and love where you are and love yourself where you are right now, and be amazed at how much you've been through and how far you've actually come, because it is amazing and you have come really far. And sometimes our expectations are a lot more than they need to be, and just acknowledging that, wow, like, I'm a badass, I'm a superstar, like, look at how far I've come. Give yourself little stickers and some sort of celebration by the end of this week. Like, really really acknowledge yourself and celebrate yourself for what you have done, and be aware of what you still need to release. And this is, and be in the allowing of it. This is where taking personal responsibility is so key. And we're showing what we've learned. We're showing how we've matured emotionally and noticing, oh, there's still something here that I can, improve on or let go of, or this isn't coming with me, this behavior doesn't need to come with me where I'm going. Like, I don't want any more of this. Focus on the experiences you love and I want more. That's where you want to go. And as you do that, you'll be able to let go and step out of that drama that, maybe you've been addicted to in the past. And you've been working all year on being aware of it and learning how to let go of that. And you've become more wiser and you're living more intuitively and more aligned and with more personal integrity than you ever have before. So really acknowledging yourself for that and being willing to say, okay, and I've come really far. And, maybe if you haven't come as far as you want, or even if you have and you want to expand further, because we're always in a state of expansion and wanting to learn and grow, this could be a good time to decide, okay, I'm going to start 2022 off right. I'm going to invest in myself here. I'm going to seek some extra support in expanding even more into this, expanding even more into personal alignment, into understanding myself, into knowing who I am, into mastering myself, mastering my emotions, mastering or learning more about how to consciously create and expand into that in a way that's easy and fun and effortless. And so if that's where you're at, then I highly recommend you click the link in the description, set up a chat with me, because I can help you. This is my area of expertise. This is what I do with people, and I love to do it. So I would love to chat with you about how we can do that, either through using numerology and doing a numerology reading for you so you can start to really understand your personal coding and what you came here in life to do, what your purpose is, and what your gifts and talents and strengths are, so that you can really leverage those with the energies of the year coming in and all of that. There's lots of ways we can do that. And I am also starting to teach the brain game with a new group again, right in the beginning of January. We work on all of that in there as well. Understanding yourself, clearing things away, learning who you really are, emotional mastery and how to work with the emotions so that you can consciously choose to create what you want. And then simple and easy tools for doing that. And you'll learn all the way as you go through. It's not like you study something but you don't implement it until after you've learned it. No, we're implementing it all the way through. So by the end of 10 weeks, you're not only knowing what to do, but you're already doing it. And you've been doing it with support, and you get continued support going on after that 10 weeks forever. And so it's a fantastic way. The brain game really saved my life and, helped me to finally come out of that cycle of drama and poverty that I couldn't seem to get myself out of, no matter how much self-work I did. I did so much therapy and all this other stuff to try and help myself, and nothing worked. So until I did the brain game. And so that's why I love to teach it. I knew the first time I took it, I wanted to teach it because it was so powerful. It is so powerful. So I have so many tools to help you guys with this. And if you are feeling confused or unsure of which way to go, or stuck, or if you don't feel worthy of moving forward or worthy of having a life you love, or you're caught up in, all of the outside messaging you're hearing about what you should be doing, and it doesn't feel right to you, but you don't know how to move around it and navigate it, please reach out to talk to me. I would love to support you in this. And know that, like I was saying in the beginning, the spoiler alert, know and trust that everything is more than okay this week. Trust and be in the flow of change and transformation. It's truly clearing the way for a better life than you can ever imagine. Thank you for joining on the live or on the replay, and let me know in the comments if this message resonated with you, and come back later this week and let me know how your week went and how you were able to navigate all of these incredible changes and transformations that are coming in, and opportunities to step into that new timeline and that new life that we want to create for ourselves for our 2022. Have a great day and wonderful week, and I will see you again tomorrow for the daily forecast. Bye bye now.